Hello everyone, thank you so much for clicking on today's video and welcome to my channel. Today's story is one of the craziest that I've ever read in a while. OP reaches out to Reddit to ask if she's the a-hole for not allowing her parents to adopt her ex-fiancé. Yes, you heard that right. Adopt a fully grown man who's also her ex-fiancé. This is honestly ludicrous. Anyways, stay tuned for the update because there's a crazy twist. I do hope that you enjoyed this story. If you do, please leave a thumbs up. And before I move on to the story, I just wanted to take a second and thank all of my subscribers. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you. And for those of you that don't know, I have a personal goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers. So if you like my videos and would like to support me, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button. Anyways, thank you so much for your time and onto the story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my parents to adopt my ex-fiancé? My ex-fiancé, a 24-year-old male, and I, a 24-year-old female, were together for 7 years. He proposed last fall and we mutually decided to break up in May. He's always gotten along incredibly well with my parents, especially my father. They've always treated him like he was one of their children, and my parents have always told him that he's part of the family. For example, he started coming on family vacations with us when we were 17. It was a very tough decision to end our relationship, but we both agreed that it was for the best. He moved out while I finished up our lease term. His plans fell through last minute and he moved in with my parents for a little while, finding a new place. Obviously, I felt a little weird about him moving into my childhood bedroom and being at my parents' house a fair amount. It led to lots of awkward interactions, but we got past it. He moved out at the start of August and I thought that was that. Last night, my parents invited me over for dinner. They sat me down and explained that since the wedding was off and my ex-fiancé wasn't going to be a part of the family by marriage, they wanted to adopt him. They asked him last week and he agreed as long as I was okay with it. I'm definitely not. I told them that I'm not really comfortable with that, and they started telling me that I'm keeping them away from their son. What the F? And that I need to tell him that I'm okay with it so that we can all be a real family. I'm worried that I'm being an a-hole because they have cared so much for my ex over the years. I'm also worried that I'm being selfish by worrying about how to explain this to future partners. So, am I the a-hole? The overwhelming verdict was not the a-hole. One Redditor said, "This is a really weird situation to be in. My heart aches for you just reading this. Where's your ex's family in all of this? And they really aren't thinking of your feelings. You were together for 7 years. That's a long time. It's quite clear to see that them adopting him is not only disrespectful, but also creepy. It'll change the family dynamics for the rest of your life. How will you ever move on properly and find a new partner with your ex around the corner? Imagine taking a new partner to your parents' house, sitting around the table, opposite your high school sweetheart, forever? No. Do not do this. Do not agree to this." To which OP replied, "His mom passed away when he was young and his dad remarried around the time when we started dating. He was spending so much time with me and my family, I don't think he's close with his dad at all anymore. That's why I'm worried that I'm being an a-hole for taking the idea of family away from him." Another Redditor said, "If OP doesn't have any brothers, they may have seen him as the son they never had, and depending on the relationship he has with his parents, he may have reciprocated." To which OP replied, "I actually do have a younger brother. He's going to university in another country and doesn't visit home very often. My ex's mom passed away when he was young, and his dad remarried and is much more invested in his new family. I'm surprised that he agreed, but I haven't had a chance to actually talk with him about it." To which that Redditor replied, "What led you two to decide to break up? Was it simply that you didn't want to work as a couple and were better as friends? Or that you didn't work in any kind of relationship, romantic or otherwise?" To which OP replied, "We worked really well as a couple, except our careers were not really that compatible together. We tried to make it work for a few years, and it was a struggle. In order to stay together, one of us would have needed to change our careers. We decided to break up to avoid any possible resentment from only one of us having to make such a big sacrifice. After I had some time to process the situation and read all of the comments you guys wrote, thank you by the way, I was feeling a lot less crazy. I decided to call my ex and ask him about the whole situation. Like a couple of you guys had guessed, he didn't actually want to be adopted. He only answered that because he didn't want to say no to my parents, who did so much for him over the years. He knew that I wouldn't like the situation and would say no. Obviously, I'm not thrilled about him offloading the hard answer onto me, but I feel like we had a really productive conversation about it. I also gave my brother, who's 20 years old, a call because there were some suggestions that my parents were trying to replace their son with my ex. He said that he didn't want to talk about it over the phone and would rather wait until he could see me in person. This wasn't at all like him, so we worked out a way for me to visit him over the weekend. Well, she came out as trans and I have a sister now. We talked for a few hours. She decided to go to university in a different country because she wanted to have a better opportunity to restart as a woman. She was planning on waiting longer to tell us because she was being hypercritical of how well she passes and didn't want me and my parents to see her as a man in a dress. She actually passes really well and I'm very proud of her. She ended up coming out to my parents at the beginning of the semester because she was going to change her preferred name in the school system, and my parents would have access to some part because they help her with the tuition. She asked them not to tell anyone else so that she could come out to people when she wants to. She thought that they took the news really well until the situation broke out. Her therapist has suggested that our parents are going through grief for having their son. The insanity of wanting to adopt my ex could be a part of that. My sister gave me permission to tell all of this to my ex-fiancé. Together, we all have agreed that it's best for us to go low contact for the time being. So guys, what did you think about this? Can we just start off by saying that both of the parents need therapy really badly? And also, I understand that if you're like, I don't know, quote unquote grieving or something, which is a whole other story, like why would you grieve? Your child is still there. But anyhow, I understand that you might not take changes really well, but adopting your child's ex-fiancé? What? Who does that? And also the fact that both of them thought that this was okay, and not for a second did they take a step back and say, whoa, this might be a little weird. Are we really going to have Thanksgiving and Christmas where if a new person comes, we introduce them that, hey, this is my daughter, this is my other daughter, and then this is my adoptive son who's also my daughter's ex-fiancé. Like what? I don't know, it's crazy. I think this is one of those cases where you really do need to invest in a therapist to work out whatever it is that's going through your mind to be able to think that this is okay. Anyways, I'd really be interested in knowing what you guys think about it. Please let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, if you did like the story, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up. And to hear more stories from Reddit with updates, please subscribe.